Captain Ryland stared at the silent stars from the small observation window of Outpost Epsilon 7. The station floated like a lonely shard of metal in the vast emptiness of space, far from the bustling colonies of human civilization. For weeks he had been alone, monitoring signals from nearby star systems, cataloging strange readings, and making sure the outpost remained operational. The solitude was a comfort at first, a welcome escape from the endless chatter of human society, but lately it had begun to feel heavy. Even the hum of the life support system, normally a soothing presence, felt oppressive tonight. Ryland was checking through the data logs when a faint shimmer caught the corner of his eye. At first he thought it was a reflection on the glass, a trick of the station lights. But then the shimmer became a ripple, as if the air itself was bending, and a figure appeared in the doorway of his quarters. He froze, his pulse quickening. "Who's there?" he called, but the voice that answered was soft, calm, and human. "I mean no harm," the figure said. It was a woman, or at least she appeared human. She stood tall, her posture confident, and her eyes glimmered with a light that was not reflected from the room. Ryland's mind raced. No one had visited this outpost in years. Supply ships came and went on automated routes, and communication with the nearest colony was limited. How had she arrived? How had she even bypassed the security systems? Before he could ask another question, she moved further into the room. Her movements were fluid and unhesitating. Something about her seemed otherworldly. Ryland's hand instinctively reached for the side of his chair, but he stopped himself. There was no visible weapon, no sign of aggression, yet the air in the room seemed to shift around her, charged with an energy he couldn't identify. "I am Vera," she said, her voice steady. "I am here because your people need to know the truth." Ryland's eyes narrowed. "The truth about what?" Vera took another step closer and began to remove the outer layers of her attire. At first it appeared startling, but as she shed the outer clothing, it became clear that it was not clothing in the human sense. It was a protective shell, part of her biology, which she discarded effortlessly. Beneath it, her form glowed faintly, her skin shimmering with a soft, almost liquid light. She did not look threatening. She looked extraordinary. Ryland swallowed, trying to steady himself. "You're alien," he said, realizing the answer was obvious, yet difficult to process. "Yes," she replied, "and your species is in danger." She moved to the side of his workstation, close enough that Ryland could see her features clearly. They were humanoid, yes, but subtly different. Her eyes were larger, pupils shaped like delicate crescents, and faint markings ran along her arms and neck. Even her hair seemed to shimmer like strands of light rather than solid matter. "I need you to see what I have seen," Vera said. She raised her hand, and the air around her pulsed with a soft energy. Suddenly, Ryland's mind was filled with images, not visions forced upon him, but memories, like watching a story unfold. He saw massive ships cutting through the void of space, fleets of the Krillians moving toward human colonies with precision and intent. He saw planets burning, cities crumbling, and humans fighting desperately against an enemy that seemed unstoppable. Ryland staggered back in shock. How? How do you know this?" he asked. Vera's gaze remained steady. "I am not human, but I can perceive things in ways your species cannot. I have been watching the Krillians for cycles beyond your understanding. They have prepared for war, and your colonies are unprepared. Without intervention, humanity will suffer greatly." Ryland's mind raced. Humanity had always been cautious about venturing into unknown space. But the Krillians were thought to be a distant rumor, an unconfirmed species. The images Vera showed him left no room for doubt. They were real, imminent, and terrifying. "Why come to me?" he asked. "I am just one man at a remote outpost. How can I possibly help?" Vera smiled faintly. "Because you are human, and humans have a quality that even the Krillians underestimate: ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. You will see that when combined with my abilities, we can make a difference." She reached out, and a faint light touched his temple. Ryland felt no pain, only a gentle resonance, as if he was tuning into a frequency he had never noticed before. Suddenly, he understood not just the threat, but also potential strategies to counter it. The Krillians were formidable, yes, but they relied on predictability, on systems and formations. Humans, in contrast, thrived in improvisation and unpredictability. Rylan exhaled slowly. So, you're saying we can fight them? Vera nodded. Yes, but you will need to act quickly. Time is limited. The two of them spent hours reviewing data, planning routes, and calculating outcomes. Rylan was amazed at Vera's knowledge not only of the Krillians, but of human technology as well. She could manipulate devices through subtle energy fields, calibrating instruments in ways that seemed impossible. And yet, she trusted Rylan's input, his judgment, and his ability to think creatively under pressure. By the time the first artificial dawn shimmered across the station's observation window, Rylan felt a strange sense of camaraderie with Vera. They were unlikely allies, yet each brought something crucial to the table. He realized that, for the first time in weeks, he was no longer alone in the vast emptiness of space. Despite the growing sense of purpose, a small worry lingered. Vera's presence was still unexplained in terms of logistics. How had she traveled across interstellar distances to reach him undetected? And why had she chosen him, out of all humans, to bear witness to this knowledge? Vera noticed his hesitation. "Do not be concerned with how I arrived," she said. "Focus on what must be done. Questions of method will be answered when the time is right." Rylan nodded, though uncertainty still lingered. He had always been trained to question everything, to analyze and verify. But there was something about Vera that made doubt feel irrelevant. Perhaps it was her confidence, or the undeniable evidence she had shown him. Whatever it was, he could not ignore the truth she carried. The next few days passed in a blur of preparation. Rylan and Vera tested communication arrays, recalibrated sensors, and simulated defensive scenarios. Rylan marveled at how seamlessly they worked together, each complementing the other's strengths. He realized that humans had always relied on adaptability and courage in the face of the unknown. And now those traits were amplified by Vera's alien abilities. During one quiet moment, Rylan asked, "Why risk yourself to help humans? You could stay hidden, remain safe." Vera paused, her luminous eyes reflecting the stars outside. "Because some choices define the future. I have seen civilizations fall, and I cannot stand by while one of my allies suffers unnecessarily. Humans may be young in the galactic community, but your potential is extraordinary. That potential deserves protection." Her words resonated with Rylan. He thought about the colonies scattered across the stars, the lives at stake, and the responsibility now resting on his shoulders. He was not just a lone outpost captain anymore. He was part of something much larger, something that could shape the destiny of humanity. That evening, as the station lights dimmed to simulate a normal night cycle, Rylan looked toward Vera. She had settled beside his workstation, her presence calm, yet alert, ready to act at a moment's notice. He no longer saw her as an intruder. She was an ally, a guide, and a living bridge between humanity and a broader universe. That was both beautiful and dangerous. Rylan felt a strange sense of reassurance. In a universe filled with uncertainty, he now had someone who could help him navigate the unknown. Together they would face whatever challenges the Krillians and the cosmos threw at them. And for the first time in his life, Rylan felt that humanity's courage, combined with the knowledge and abilities of beings like Vera, might just be enough to change the course of history. As the station hummed quietly around them, the two stared out at the stars, each lost in thought, each understanding that the days ahead would demand everything they had: courage, ingenuity, and trust. The emptiness of space no longer felt oppressive. It felt full of possibility. The hum of Outpost Epsilon 7 had grown almost comforting to Rylan, familiar rhythm in the otherwise unpredictable void of space. But today, the quiet would be broken. Vera stood beside him, her glowing markings brighter than usual, reflecting the urgency in her every movement. The data they had collected over the past few days painted a grim picture. The Krillians were not just moving against isolated colonies, they were preparing for a coordinated strike across several human systems. Rylan rubbed his temple. "We need to intercept their scouts before they relay the full plan," he said. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. Every life in those colonies depended on the choices they made now. Vera tilted her head slightly, her luminous eyes scanning the star charts projected in the air. "We can do more than intercept. We can anticipate their moves, force them into patterns that favor us." Her voice was calm, yet carried the quiet authority of someone who had seen countless conflicts unfold and survived them all. For the first time, Rylan felt a sense of confidence he had not known before. With Vera by his side, humanity's ingenuity could be amplified, guided by her perception and knowledge. He could not afford to hesitate. They left the station in Rylan's small, agile reconnaissance ship, the Stalwart, a vessel designed for quick maneuvers and stealth. Vera had adapted instantly to its controls, though she did not need them in the way humans did. Her hands hovered above the interface, and subtle energy pulses responded to her mental commands, recalibrating systems and enhancing shields. Rylan focused on navigation while Vera monitored signals, predicting enemy movements in real time. Her presence was like having an extra layer of perception, one that could detect the faintest shift in energy signatures, or the smallest deviation in trajectory. Hours passed as they approached a distant system, one that had recently gone silent, a colony that had been cut off from communication. The silence was deafening. Rylan's stomach tightened. If the Krillians had already arrived, they would find the system defenseless. "Prepare for rapid deployment," Vera instructed. "We may encounter resistance, but we can turn it to our advantage." Rylan nodded. His hands gripped the controls tightly. "Ready when you are?" As they entered the outer rim of the system, their sensors picked up movement Krillian scouts, sleek and dark, moving in formation toward the inner planets. Rylan's heart raced. They were outnumbered but not outmatched. Vera's energy shields flickered to life, invisible to human eyes, and the ship seemed to hum with a new vitality. Vera leaned close to Rylan, her voice steady. "Trust your instincts. Humans are unpredictable, and that is our strength. They will not anticipate what we are about to do." Rylan swallowed hard. Understood. The first Krillian ship appeared on the radar, a dark silhouette against the backdrop of stars. Rylan accelerated, weaving the Stalwart through the debris fields of a nearby asteroid belt. Using the natural obstacles as cover, Vera's energy fields shimmered, bending light around the ship, rendering it nearly invisible. The Krillian scout fired first, a beam of concentrated energy slicing through space. Rylan twisted the controls, narrowly avoiding the attack. "They're fast," he muttered, adrenaline surging. "They underestimate us," Vera said calmly. She extended her hands, and a soft wave of energy surged outward. The Krillian beam wavered, as if encountering an invisible barrier, and then dissipated harmlessly. Rylan's jaw tightened. "We need to disable their sensors. If we can blind them, we can control the fight." Vera nodded. "Follow my lead. I will guide you." Together, they executed a precise series of maneuvers. Vera's energy pulses disrupted the Krillian systems, causing their ships to falter and momentarily lose coordination. Rylan seized the opportunity, piloting the Stalwart into a calculated attack, hitting critical points on the lead scout. The ship spun out of control, its systems sparking. Rylan allowed himself a small, grim smile. One down. More to go. Vera's luminous form seemed to shimmer brighter, almost as if she were drawing energy from the victory itself. "Stay focused. There are more." The next few hours were a blur of tactical brilliance. Krillian after Krillian fell into traps set by Rylan's ingenuity and Vera's alien perception. They moved like a single entity, human and alien working in tandem. Rylan marveled at how effortlessly Vera adapted to each scenario, predicting enemy movements and advising maneuvers that seemed impossible by human logic alone. By the time the last scout ship was disabled, the system was secure. Rylan allowed himself to exhale fully for the first time since leaving Epsilon 7. The colonies had a chance. Humanity had a chance. Vera's energy dimmed slightly, and she placed a hand on the console, grounding herself. This is only the beginning. The Krillians will retaliate, and next time, they may not be so easy to deceive. Rylan nodded, a sense of determination settling over him. Then we'll be ready. We'll show them that humanity is not so easy to defeat. For the next several days, they worked tirelessly, monitoring other systems and preparing for the inevitable. Along the way, Rylan observed more of Vera's unique abilities. She could manipulate energy fields with subtle gestures, communicate silently through mental projections, and adapt to new technologies almost instantly. Yet she also respected his input, valuing his human intuition and creativity. Together, they were more than the sum of their parts. One evening, as they rested aboard the Stalwart, Rylan glanced at Vera. She was quiet, her gaze fixed on the stars outside the viewport. "Do you ever tire?" he asked. Vera's lips curved into a faint smile. "I do not experience fatigue as humans do, but even I need moments to process, to prepare for what comes next." "Observation is a form of rest," Rylan nodded, understanding. He realized that while humans relied on physical endurance, Vera's strength was both mental and biological, a perfect complement to his own skills. Together, they could face challenges neither could confront alone. Days turned into weeks as they continued their mission. Intercepting Krillian scouts and gathering intelligence, each encounter reinforced Rylan's respect for Vera and the capabilities of humanity. Humans were resourceful, adaptable, and courageous qualities that could tip the scales when combined with the right knowledge and allies. Finally, they reached the outer edge of the Krillian fleet, a massive formation preparing for a direct assault on a human colony. Rylan's heart pounded. This would be their greatest challenge yet. "We have one chance to disrupt their formation," Vera said. "We must act quickly and decisively. Trust your instincts, and trust each other." Rylan nodded. He gripped the controls tightly, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. "Let's do it." They executed a daring plan, weaving through the enemy formation with precision. Vera's energy fields distorted space around them, allowing the Stalwart to bypass defenses that would have been impossible for a human ship alone. Rylan's tactical decisions exploited every opening. Hitting critical systems and sending Krillian ships into chaos, the battle was intense, each moment demanding complete focus. Yet for every obstacle, Rylan found a solution, guided by both human ingenuity and Vera's alien perception. Slowly, the tide turned. Krillian ships were disabled, their coordination disrupted, and the colony was safe for now. As the last enemy vessel fell into silence, Rylan allowed himself to lean back, exhausted but triumphant. Vera hovered nearby, her glow steady and calming. "You have done well, Captain," she said. "Humanity's courage and resourcefulness have made the difference." Rylan looked at her, a mixture of awe and gratitude in his eyes. "We did it together, you and I." Vera nodded. "Yes, this alliance proves that when humans embrace the unknown with courage, combined with knowledge from others, they can overcome challenges that seem insurmountable." As they set course for the nearest human colony to report their success, Rylan reflected on the journey. The universe was vast, full of dangers and mysteries, but it was also full of potential. Humanity had the ability to rise, to adapt, and to thrive in the face of seemingly unbeatable odds. And with allies like Vera, the future seemed brighter than ever. For the first time in his life, Rylan felt that the impossible was within reach. He and Vera had faced the darkness of space and emerged victorious, not through brute force alone, but through courage, intelligence, and trust. Humanity had proven its value on a galactic stage, and Rylan knew that this was only the beginning. The stars stretched endlessly before them, a canvas of infinite possibility. And as the Stalwart sped toward the safety of human civilization, Rylan felt a renewed sense of purpose. No longer was he just an isolated outpost captain. He was a part of something greater, a movement that could change the destiny of humanity. Vera glanced at him, eyes shimmering with quiet approval. "The journey is far from over," she said. "But together, We have proven that humans can stand against the universe, and even inspire hope where none seemed possible.
Rylan smiled.
Then let's make sure we keep proving it. The stalwart glided through the silent void, a small beacon of human resilience and courage. And in that moment, Rylan understood that no matter how vast or hostile the universe might be, humanity had a place among the stars and a chance to shape its own destiny.